3 days before the apocalypse began, my phone screen was still lit with a photo sent by my best friend, Su Qianqian. In the photo, she was wearing my nightgown, embracing my boyfriend of 3 years, Lin Chin, both naked on my bed. The caption read, "Yao Yao, do you think the new necklace Lin Chin gave me looks good?" He said, "After all, I have more charm. In my previous life, it was these two who, while I was unconscious with a high fever, took my last food and water. Then threw me out to distract the zombies so they could escape safely. Before I died, I heard Su Qianqian giggling and saying, 'Lu Yao, your life, your man, your supplies, they're all mine now.'" I sneered as I deleted the photo and opened the banking app, looking at the supplementary card Lin Chen had given me as compensation. With a limit of 5 million for supermarket purchases, I made a call. "Hello, is this Wanjiao Moving Company? I have a batch of charity supplies that I need you to clear out of a warehouse using your largest truck." "Yes, the address is the main warehouse of Lin's Fresh Supermarket. In this life, I'm not just going to survive, I'm going to live better than anyone else." The person in charge of the moving company on the other end of the phone was clearly taken aback by my large order and repeatedly confirmed, "Miss, are you sure you want to clear out the entire warehouse? The main warehouse of Lin's Fresh Supermarket, the goods there, must weigh at least several hundred tons." My tone was calm but carried an undeniable firmness. "That's right, clear it out, everything, not a single item left. Money is not an issue, I have only one requirement: speed. Additionally, sign a confidentiality agreement. I don't want a fourth party to know the details of this operation." "No problem, Miss Liu. Rest assured, we are professionals." After hanging up the phone, I looked at the antique jade bracelet on my wrist. It was a keepsake left to me by my mother and the biggest secret of my life. Just before my death in my previous life, my blood accidentally activated it, and I discovered that this jade bracelet contained a hidden world, a static storage space spanning over 10,000 square meters. Time stands still inside it. A strawberry placed inside would still be fresh and sweet even after 10 years, unfortunately. I discovered it too late in my previous life. In this life, it will be my greatest asset for survival, and that fool Lin Chen probably never imagined in his wildest dreams that the unlimited limit supplementary card he gave me to flaunt his generosity would become the very tool to drain his family's wealth. His family started with a chain of supermarkets, and the city's largest fresh produce storage center is their family's business. After the apocalypse, it became a coveted treasure trove for countless survivors, leading to numerous bloody conflicts over it. Now, it will become my personal granary. I quickly made a list. For survival, the first necessities are water and food. I directly contacted several large mineral water and purified water manufacturers, using the company procurement as a pretext and Lin Chen's secondary card to order enough bottled water for 10,000 people to drink for a year. The delivery address, naturally, was the main warehouse that I was about to clear out. Next came food. In addition to the readily available rice, flour, cooking oil, canned goods, snacks, and frozen meat in the warehouse, I also purchased a large quantity of military compressed biscuits, individual combat rations, and various vitamin tablets. These items have a long shelf life, high energy content, and are hard currency in the post-apocalyptic world. Salt, sugar, and various seasonings were also ordered in massive quantities. In the post-apocalyptic era, a single piece of sugar could trade for a woman's everything, and a pack of salt could make a man risk his life for you. Then came medicine, antibiotics, anti-inflammatory drugs, cold medicine, painkillers, gauze, bandages, iodine. I nearly emptied the stock of several nearby pharmacies and even acquired a batch of controlled psychotropic drugs at a high price through special channels. Survival tools and weapons are also essential. An entrenching tool, a fire axe, a multifunctional knife, cut-resistant gloves, and climbing ropes. I also ordered hundreds of sets of professional stab-proof suits and anti-riot helmets, as well as dozens of high-precision compound bows and thousands of carbon arrows. While I couldn't get my hands on firearms, these cold weapons would be more than enough to deal with scattered zombies in the early stages. Energy is the top priority. I bought dozens of high-powered diesel generators and enough diesel to fill a swimming pool. At the same time, I contacted a solar energy company to customize a complete, top-tier off-grid power supply system for the villa. Finally, there are the daily supplies, from clothes and shoes to hygiene products, from shampoo and body wash to boxes of tissues, and even a massive amount of cat and dog food. In my past life, I saw with my own eyes people fighting desperately over a few sanitary pads. I swiped my card like crazy, and Lin Chen's phone received an alert for every single purchase. Sure enough, within less than half an hour, his call came through. "Yao Yao, what are you doing? Why have you been swiping my cards so much? You bought all these things." Lin Chen's tone sounded a bit confused, but still gentle. I pinched my throat, pretending to sound tearful and aggrieved. "Chen, I'm sorry, I saw the photos of you and Chan. The other end of the phone fell silent instantly. I continued my performance. "I'm so upset that I can only vent by spending money. Do you not love me anymore? Are you going to be with Qianhan? You said this card was for me to use freely. Was it all a lie?" I cried with tears streaming down my face, my acting skills rivaling those of an Oscar-winning actress. Lin Chen was most susceptible to this act of mine. Deep down, he was a chauvinist who loved seeing women go to extremes for him. Sure enough, he immediately softened, even with a hint of pride and satisfaction. "Silly, why are you crying? Qian and I are just friends. Don't overthink it. That card was always meant for you. Buy whatever you want, as long as it makes you happy. Don't cry, be good." "Really, you're not lying to me?" "Of course it's true. When have I ever lied to you? Go ahead and buy whatever you want, even if you max out my card, as long as it makes my Yao Yao happy." "Thank you, Aiken, you're so good to me," I said in the sweetest voice, but without any hesitation. I placed another order for imported freeze-dried fruits and vegetables worth 300,000. After hanging up the phone, the cold smirk on my lips almost stretched to my ears. "Fool, enjoy this final moment of peace. Soon, you will realize how dearly your generosity today will cost you in the apocalypse." For the next 2 days, I was so busy I barely had time to catch my breath. While remotely directing moving companies and major suppliers to transport supplies to designated warehouses, I also began renovating my safe house, my suburban, standalone villa with a basement. This is the only inheritance my parents left me. It's located in a remote area with no neighbors within 100 meters, making it perfect as an apocalypse fortress. I hired the most professional construction team to carry out a comprehensive reinforcement and renovation of the basement under the guise of decorating a wine cellar and home theater. First, the door. I replaced it with an alloy security door of bank vault grade, requiring triple verification, password, fingerprint, and iris scan, to open. Behind the door, I also installed 3 solid steel hydraulic bolts. Forget zombies, even explosives might not easily blast it open. For the walls and ceiling, I reinforced everything with reinforced concrete, embedding a thick layer of steel and lead plates inside. This not only protects against impacts but also effectively blocks radiation. The ventilation system is crucial. I installed a military-grade CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, air purification system with multiple layers of filters, ensuring that even if the outside air is contaminated with viruses, the indoor air remains clean. Water and electricity. I had a deep well dug in the villa's courtyard, equipped with a full set of purification and circulation systems. For electricity, I rely on the solar panels and diesel generator I ordered. The solar panels cover the entire roof and courtyard, generating enough power during the day to store for nighttime use. The diesel generator serves as a backup power source. I raised the villa's perimeter wall to 5 meters and installed high-voltage electric fencing on top, in the courtyard. I obsessively set up countless infrared sensing automatic animal traps and trigger-activated snares. The surveillance system provides full coverage without any blind spots, from the roads hundreds of meters outside the villa to every corner of the courtyard and all indoor passageways. I installed high-definition cameras. The control console in the basement allows me to monitor the entire area with complete clarity. In just 2 days, money was spent like water. The 5 million in Lin Chen's card was quickly depleted, and without hesitation, I used over 2 million from my own savings. In the apocalypse, money is just worthless paper. Only supplies and a sturdy fortress can ensure survival. By the afternoon of the 3rd day, all the supplies had been delivered to the warehouse. I dismissed the moving company and construction team. paying them far above the market rate, and had them sign the strictest confidentiality agreements. Then I drove alone to the outside of the massive warehouse. This was the edge of the city, with nothing but emptiness all around. After confirming that no one was around, I pressed my palm against the cold warehouse door, with a single thought. A powerful suction force emanated from the jade bracelet. The sight before me left me utterly stunned. Tons of rice and flour, mountains of canned snacks, and a dazzling array of alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, as if manipulated by an invisible hand, vanished in an instant, all stored away in my inventory. I swept through the area floor by floor, the fresh produce section, the frozen foods aisle, the grains and oils section, the daily necessities area. Everywhere I passed, the shelves were left completely empty. In the end, even the hundreds of tons of bottled water and medicine, along with the backup generators and fuel in the warehouse, were all taken without a trace. Looking at the warehouse, now so empty you could race horses in it, I smiled with satisfaction. Lin Chin, Su Chanchan, I hope you'll like this grand gift. After completing all this, I drove back to my fortress. On the way, I received a call from Su Chanchan. Her voice sounded hypocritical and concerned. Yao Yao, where have you been? Why haven't we been able to reach you for 2 days? Both A Chin and I are very worried about you. I'm fine, just taking a walk outside. I replied calmly, taking a walk, alone, it's not safe for a girl. Come back soon, we'll have dinner together tonight. Aiken reserved your favorite Japanese restaurant, she said in a hostess-like tone. I almost burst out laughing. No, I'm a bit tired and want to rest early. Don't be like that, Yao Yao, she persisted. Are you still upset with us? I've already talked to Aiken and told him to be more careful in the future. After all, we're best friends, and he's your boyfriend. We were just joking. Don't take it to heart. What a joke. She took the joke right into my bed. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her any longer and hung up the phone directly. Returning to the villa, I locked all the doors and windows, activated the electric fence and surveillance system. Then, I went down to the basement, retrieved various supplies from my storage space, and organized this 100-square-meter underground fortress meticulously. A soft bed, a comfortable sofa, 5G network, endless movies and novels, and an abundance of snacks and delicious food. I opened a bottle of 1982 Lafite for myself, paired it with top-quality Australian Wagyu beef, and pan-fried a medium-rare steak. Sipping the red wine and enjoying the steak, I watched the city streets on the surveillance screen gradually descend into chaos, feeling an unprecedented sense of calm. On the TV news, the anchor was reporting with a serious expression. Unidentified cases of high fever and violent attacks have been reported in many parts of the world. Experts are advising citizens to minimize outdoor activities and seek shelter at home. I know, the apocalypse is coming, and this time, I am prepared. The arrival of the apocalypse was more violent than anyone had anticipated. It started with sporadic acts of violence, which quickly escalated into a global catastrophe. First, there was a 3-day heat wave, with temperatures soaring to over 50 degrees Celsius, as if the entire world had been placed inside a massive oven. Countless people collapsed from heatstroke, the power grid completely collapsed, and the city plunged into darkness and silence. Then came an eerie red rain. The rainwater carried a rusty, metallic smell, and when it touched the skin, it caused a burning, stinging sensation. Those who had previously fallen unconscious from the extreme heat began to stand up again after being drenched in the red rain. However, they were no longer human. They had turned into monsters with bluish-purple skin, cloudy eyes, driven only by the urge to bite and devour the living. Zombies. Communication has been completely cut off, and the world has fallen into unprecedented panic and chaos. Meanwhile, I am leisurely staying in my impregnable underground fortress, living a heavenly life. Outside is a living hell, with heart-wrenching screams and the roars of zombies echoing endlessly. Here, however, is a paradise on Earth. The air conditioning system maintains a constant temperature and humidity at the most comfortable 26 degrees, while the air purifier filters out all odors. I wake up naturally in the morning, wash with purified water, and then make myself a hearty breakfast: fried eggs, bacon, milk, toast, paired with freshly ground coffee. After the meal, I start working out. In the basement, I have a full set of fitness equipment I prepared. in the post-apocalyptic world. A strong physique is the foundation of survival. In the afternoon, I watch downloaded movies and read novels, or tend to the small vegetable plot I've cultivated in my space. Yes, my space not only stores items but also allows for small-scale planting. Evenings are the moments I enjoy the most. I cook myself a steaming hot pot, fatty beef, tripe, shrimp paste, duck intestines. All kinds of fresh ingredients are readily available, paired with a bottle of ice-cold cola. Listening to the zombies roaring outside while eating a piping hot pot, this feeling is absolutely exhilarating to the core. Occasionally, I also check the situation outside through the surveillance cameras. The city has completely fallen, with hordes of zombies roaming the streets. The once bustling metropolis is now nothing but ruins and bloodshed. Occasionally, I spot some survivors. They are ragged and emaciated, willing to risk their lives for half a moldy piece of bread. Human nature is laid bare in the apocalypse, exposed to its fullest extent. As for Lin Chen and Su Qianqian, I haven't heard any news about them for a long time. I guess they must be having a wonderful time right now. On the 15th day of the apocalypse, I was enjoying my seafood feast, Boston lobster with garlic vermicelli and scallops. Suddenly, the surveillance at the villa's main gate sounded an alarm. I switched the screen and saw two familiar figures appear in the frame. It was Lin Chen and Su Qianqian. They looked utterly disheveled. Their clothes were tattered, covered in dirt and bloodstains. Lin Chen had a dirty cloth wrapped around his arm, clearly injured. Su Qianqian looked even worse, her hair a mess like a bird's nest, her face filled with fear and exhaustion. Behind them were 3 or 5 other survivors, all looking pale and malnourished, their eyes filled with despair. This must be the place. Lin Chen pointed at my villa and shouted to the others. "This is my girlfriend's house. She must be here. She has a basement. It must be safe, and there's definitely plenty of food." Su Qianqian immediately chimed in. Yes, Yao Yao loves hoarding things the most. She must have prepared a lot of supplies." I let out a cold laugh. "Finally found them. It took a few more days than I expected. It seems these two have had a tough time outside." They began frantically banging on my door. "Yao Yao, open the door. It's Chen, Lu Yao, are you in there? Open the door quickly, we can't hold on much longer." The shouts outside the door grew more and more desperate. I leisurely peeled a large shrimp, dipped it in soy sauce, and put it into my mouth. The sweet shrimp meat melted on the tip of my tongue. It was truly delicious. I turned on the intercom by the door and asked in a just awake, slightly lazy tone, "Who is it? It's the middle of the night, so noisy." Hearing my voice, the person outside instantly became excited. "Yao Yao, it's really you. That's great, you're still alive." Lin Chen's voice was filled with ecstasy. "Quick, open the door and let us in. It's full of zombies outside." Su Qianqian also cried out tearfully, "Yao Yao, my best friend, please open the door. I'm so scared, I'm so hungry. We haven't eaten anything for 2 days." I chuckled softly. "Oh, really? But why should I open the door for you?" My words left everyone outside the door stunned. Lin Chen's tone became incredulous. "Yao Yao, what do you mean?" "I'm your boyfriend." I feigned surprise. "But how come I remember that my boyfriend just rolled into my bed with my best friend not long ago, and even sent me photos to show off?" As soon as these words were spoken, Lin Chen and Su Qianqian's faces instantly turned extremely ugly. The few survivors behind them also showed expressions of disdain and amusement. "Yao Yao, listen to me. It's a misunderstanding." Lin Chen hurriedly defended himself. "Qianqian and I really have nothing going on. She had too much drink, and I was just taking care of her." Yes, Yao Yao, don't misunderstand." Su Qianqian also quickly chimed in. "I was completely blackout drunk that day and don't remember anything. I swear to heaven, Chen and I are innocent. We're best friends. How could I ever do something to hurt you?" How ridiculous, even at this point, they're still putting on an act. I couldn't be bothered to waste any more words on them and directly turned on a small LCD screen mounted on the villa's exterior wall. On the screen, the photo Su Qianqian had sent me began to play on a loop, along with the high-definition video of the two of them entangled in bed after I hung up the phone. This was captured by the pinhole camera I had secretly installed in the bedroom at home. I had long anticipated this day would come. As soon as the video started playing, A deathly silence fell outside the door. Lin Chen and Su Qianqian's faces turned pale, then green, then purple, shifting through colors like a painter's palette. The few survivors behind them looked at them with eyes full of contempt and disdain. What a shameless couple! After all that, they were caught having an affair. Serves them right. Still trying to trick someone into opening the door. What a pipe dream. The murmurs were not loud, but they struck Lin Chen and Su Qianqian's faces like sharp slaps. Su Qianqian, being thin-skinned, broke down on the spot, collapsing to the ground and wailing loudly. Lin Chen's face darkened as if it could drip with water. He stared fixedly at the surveillance camera, gritting his teeth and saying, "Lu Yao, what exactly do you want? Do you have to push things to the extreme at a time like this? There are zombies outside. Are you locking us out here to die?" I laughed, laughing with immense satisfaction. "That's right, I just want you to die. Wasn't that what you were thinking when you pushed me out to feed the zombies?" Of course, the last sentence was something I said in my heart. Facing Lin Chen's questioning, I simply responded indifferently, "This is your own business. It has nothing to do with me. My place is small, and supplies are limited. I can't afford to support idle people. Everyone, please leave." After saying that, I turned off the speaker and display directly, ignoring them. I thought they would give up. I never expected that I had underestimated the shamelessness of human nature. After being exposed by me, Lin Chen and Su Qianqian not only did not leave, but instead began to bang on the door more violently. "Lu Yao, you bitch, open the door. I'm telling you, if you don't open the door today, we're not leaving your doorstep. Do you think hiding inside will keep you safe? Once we find tools, we can still smash this door open." Their shouting attracted a few zombies wandering nearby. The zombies, drawn by the sound, charged at them with guttural roars. The survivors were so terrified they nearly lost control of their bladders, scrambling away in a panic. Lin Chen and Su Qianqian were also scared out of their wits. Lin Chen, still somewhat strong, grabbed a wooden stick and barely managed to fend off the zombies' attacks. Su Qianqian, on the other hand, could only hide behind him and scream. Watching their desperate struggle with the zombies on the surveillance feed, I made myself a steaming, fragrant bowl of luoxifen. The unique smell of sour bamboo shoots might just waft out a little through the fresh air system. While slurping my noodles, I was thoroughly enjoying this free action blockbuster. It really goes well with the meal. Perhaps driven by an instinct for survival, Lin Chen actually managed to kill those zombies, but he himself paid a considerable price, with several new wounds on his body and his energy completely drained, leaving him sprawled on the ground, gasping for breath. Seeing the danger had passed, Su Qianqian immediately reverted to her green tea persona. She threw herself beside Lin Chen, tearfully tending to his wounds. "Chen, how are you? Are you okay? It's all Lu Yao's fault. She's so heartless. How could she just stand by and do nothing?" "Exactly." Lin Chen also gasped for breath, glaring fiercely at the door of my villa. "That bitch, just wait till I get in there. I'll make her pay." He paused, a flicker of malice flashing in his eyes. "She won't open the door. Fine, I'll force her to open it. Qianqian, go check if there are any stores along the way we came from, and get some gasoline." I refuse to believe a fire can't burn down her turtle shell. Hearing this, my eyes turned cold. Want to burn my house down? They have no idea of the danger they're in. Su Qianqian returned quickly, not only with 2 cans of gasoline but also with a bad news and an even worse one. The bad news was that their earlier fighting and shouting had attracted more zombies. The even worse news was that what they had attracted wasn't just ordinary zombies. Through a high-powered camera, I spotted an abnormally large zombie in the distance. It was much faster and stronger than ordinary zombies, capable of swatting a small car away with a single slap. It's an evolved zombie. Half a month into the apocalypse, the virus had already begun to cause mutations and evolution in some of the zombies. In my previous life, I died at the hands of one such strength-type evolved zombie. Lin Chen and Su Qianqian had clearly noticed this uninvited guest as well, their faces filled with terror. They abandoned their plan to set the fire and frantically pounded on my door, letting out screams like a pig being slaughtered. "Open the door, Lu Yao, open the door quickly, please. I beg you, Yao Yao. As long as you let us in, I'll do anything you ask. Help, I don't want to die." Su Qianqian even knelt directly on the ground, desperately kowtowing toward the surveillance camera. Yao Yao, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I shouldn't have stolen your boyfriend. I'm not human, please. For the sake of our years as sisters, spare my life. Watching her weep bitterly and lose all dignity, I felt not the slightest bit of sympathy. If I had known it would come to this, why did I start it in the first place? Your lives are lives, but isn't mine one too? I calmly watched the surveillance screen. The evolved zombie was getting closer and closer to my villa, and behind it, a large group of ordinary zombies followed, forming a small horde. Lin Chen and Su Qianqian had already lost hope. They no longer begged me, but instead started cursing at each other. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you insisting on coming to find this bitch, how would we have run into such a monster? You have the nerve to blame me. If it weren't for you being so provocative in bed, would Lu Yao hate us? Lin Chen, you bastard. Su Qianqian, you bitch. What a fine spectacle of a dog-eat-dog drama. The zombie horde was about to rush to the villa's entrance. A flash of desperate madness flickered in Lin Chen's eyes. Suddenly, he grabbed Su Qianqian beside him and, with all his strength, pushed her toward the leading evolved zombie. Go die. Su Qianqian let out a scream of utter despair, only to be seized by the massive hand of the evolved zombie. A crisp crack echoed. Her body was snapped like a broken rag doll and then stuffed into the creature's gaping, blood-soaked maw. Blood and viscera splattered all over Lin Chen's face. Seizing this opportunity, he turned around and tried to run, but alas, it was too late. The horde of zombies had already surrounded him completely. He only had time to let out one unwilling, agonized scream before being overwhelmed by countless zombies. The surveillance screen showed nothing but a bloody feast. I watched it all with an expressionless face, feeling no emotion inside. In my previous life, this was how they pushed me out. In this life, they finally got to experience the despair I felt back then. What goes around comes around, and heaven spares no one. After dealing with these two troublemakers, I didn't let my guard down. The horde of zombies at the gate is the biggest problem at the moment. After finishing off Lin Chen and Su Qianqian, these zombies were drawn to the scent of the living inside the villa and began frantically attacking my walls and gate. Bang, bang, bang. The alloy gate was being slammed with continuous loud bangs, and the sturdy walls trembled slightly under their impact. Especially that evolved zombie. Its strength was astonishing. Every time it crashed into the gate, the entire basement shook. I walked to the control console, took a deep breath, and pressed the red button. Activate the high-voltage electric grid. Zap. A sharp crackle of electricity sounded, and the electrified fence laid atop the perimeter wall instantly lit up with a terrifying blue glow. The few zombies at the front, attempting to climb the wall, convulsed violently the moment they touched the fence, emitting streams of acrid black smoke before collapsing like mud. The power of the electric fence effectively halted the advance of most ordinary zombies, but that evolved zombie was clearly not so easy to deal with. It seemed to sense the danger of the electric fence and did not blindly charge again. Instead, it took a few steps back and let out an earth-shattering roar. Immediately after, it actually picked up an abandoned car from the roadside and, with all its might, hurled it fiercely at my wall. Boom! With a deafening crash, the car struck the wall and was instantly ignited by the high-voltage electric current from the fence. The violent explosion blasted a gap in that small section of the wall. The horde of corpses instantly found a breach and swarmed in. The situation suddenly became critical. Although I was in the basement, completely safe, I didn't want my yard to turn into a zombie playground. I immediately activated all the defensive traps in the yard. The infrared sensing animal traps snapped shut with a click-clack, breaking the legs of numerous zombies. Hidden underground tripwires were triggered, pulling rows of sharpened steel pipes that shot up from the ground like porcupine quills, skewering the zombies at the front like candied haws on a stick. I also activated the automatic flamethrower. Nozzles hidden in the corners of the walls suddenly shot out several fiery dragons, igniting a large group of zombies and turning them into roaring torches. For a moment, the screams, explosions, and the crackling of flames in my yard rose and fell one after another, resembling a scene from a battlefield of carnage. However, the number of zombies is simply too overwhelming. Although these traps are effective, they can only temporarily slow them down, especially that evolved zombie. It has thick, tough skin, and ordinary traps are practically useless against it. It pushes through the flames, stepping on the corpses of its companions, and steadily advances toward the main villa. Its target is clear, the reinforced security door on the first floor that leads to the ground, although that door is also sturdy. I don't want to give it any chance to get close. My eyes sharpened as I locked onto its position through the surveillance. Initiate Plan B. Following my command, several windows on the second floor of the villa suddenly opened, revealing a number of modified, auto-aiming crossbows. These crossbows were purchased at a high price from a weapons enthusiast before the apocalypse, and after my meticulous modifications, their range and power far exceed that of ordinary crossbows. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Over a dozen specially crafted crossbow bolts, gleaming with a cold light, shot through the air with a sharp whistling sound, accurately targeting the evolved zombie. Ordinary bolts might be ineffective against it, but the ones I use are specialized arrows with tips coated in highly corrosive chemical agents. Roar! The evolved zombie let out a painful roar. The crossbow bolt struck it, and though it failed to pierce its tough skin, the chemical agent on the arrowhead quickly began to corrode its body. Wisps of green smoke rose as its skin visibly began to fester, emitting a sizzling sound. The intense pain completely enraged the monster. It abandoned attacking the gate and instead fixed its gaze on the automatic crossbow on the second floor, roaring as it charged forward, its massive palms slamming fiercely against the wall. Boom! The villa's wall was smashed into a large crater by its blow, sending debris flying. But this also gave me an opportunity. Just as it attacked the wall, exposing the vulnerable part of its head, I activated my final killing move. On the villa's roof, a cover disguised as a solar panel suddenly slid open, revealing a dark, hollow cannon barrel. That was my modified, homemade cannon, which uses a high-pressure gas cylinder to launch steel spears. Target locked, head, fire, whoosh, a sharp whistling sound. A solid steel spear 2 meters long with an extremely sharpened tip, trailing a silver light like a bolt of lightning, instantly pierced through the head of the evolved zombie. The immense force even pinned its massive body to the ground. The evolved zombie's movements came to an abrupt halt. Its murky eyes were fixed on the villa, seemingly filled with unwillingness. Then, its massive body collapsed to the ground with a thud. With the leader dead, the remaining ordinary zombies immediately became disorganized, although they still wandered in the courtyard. They had lost unified command and were no longer as threatening. I didn't go out immediately. I patiently observed through the surveillance for 2 full days. Only after confirming that the zombies in the yard had become sluggish due to prolonged lack of food did I put on a full set of stab-proof gear, put on a helmet, grab a fire axe, and open the door to the first floor. The next few hours were a one-sided slaughter. I took advantage of the villa's complex terrain to lure and kill those slow-moving zombies one by one. Each swing of the axe landed precisely on the zombies' heads. 10 years of struggling in the apocalypse in my previous life gave me rich combat experience. Dealing with these ordinary zombies was as easy as pie. After the last zombie fell, I stood in the yard littered with corpses, gasping for breath. The smell of blood and the stench of scorched remains mingled together, nauseating, yet I felt an unprecedented sense of exhilaration. This was the first true battle since my rebirth. Not only did I survive, but I also personally eliminated every threat. The feeling of having my fate firmly in my own hands is so damn satisfying. I spent the whole day cleaning up all the bodies in the yard. I piled them up in the distance, doused them with gasoline, and set them on fire. The raging flames seemed to burn away the last trace of my attachment to the past. From now on, Liu Yao will live only for myself. After dealing with the zombie horde, my life returned to peace. It was even more pleasant than before. I began to cultivate a vegetable garden within the walled courtyard, planting all kinds of vegetables. I also used materials collected from the warehouse to build a small breeding shed, raising a few chickens and rabbits. Every day, I get to enjoy the freshest vegetables and eggs. My underground fortress has truly become a self-sufficient paradise. Day by day, time passed. And in the blink of an eye, 3 months had gone by since the apocalypse began. The world outside is getting worse and worse. Supplies in the city have long been scavenged. Survivors, in order to stay alive, have begun forming factions and establishing small settlements. The ugliness of human nature is magnified infinitely in an environment without order or legal constraints. Robbery, killing, and betrayal are happening every day, through drone reconnaissance. I have witnessed too many human tragedies. Sometimes, I also feel a hint of confusion about this hopeless world, but whenever I return to my warm, safe, and well-supplied fortress, have a hot meal, and drink some warm water, all the negative emotions vanish. Survive, at all costs, live well, this is my only belief. One day, I was watering my little tomatoes in the yard, the monitoring system sounded the alarm again. This time, what appeared on the surveillance footage was neither zombies nor survivors. Instead, it was a well-equipped, highly trained army. They were driving armored vehicles, wearing standardized military uniforms, and carrying automatic rifles. An officer at the forefront, holding a loudspeaker, was shouting to the surroundings, "Attention, everyone inside, we are the rescue team dispatched by the state, we are here to save you, please do not panic, open the door and follow us to the safe survivor base." Rescue team, my heart stirred at this. In the previous life, the official rescue forces did not arrive until 6 months after the apocalypse broke out. I never expected that in this life. They would come 3 months earlier. This is good news. An individual's strength is ultimately limited. To survive long-term in the post-apocalyptic world, joining a well-organized, heavily armed large base is the best choice. However, I can't just trust them so easily. In the post-apocalyptic world, people's intentions are hard to predict. Who knows if this team is actually a group of people with ulterior motives pretending to be someone else? I didn't respond immediately, but instead carefully observed them through the surveillance. Their equipment was new, and their vehicles were current military models. Everyone was in high spirits, disciplined, and indeed appeared to be regular troops. The officer leading them was probably in his 30s, with a square face, determined eyes, and an upright demeanor. He seemed very patient. After finishing his announcement, he had the team rest in place without making any aggressive moves. After observing for about half an hour, I was fairly certain that they must be the official rescue team. I decided to make contact with them, but I wasn't foolish enough to open the door directly. I turned on the loudspeaker and asked in a cautious tone, "How can you prove that you're the rescue team?" My voice instantly boosted the morale of the soldiers outside. The officer in charge immediately stepped forward, faced my camera, and presented his military ID. "Hello, I am Zhao Weigua, the battalion commander of the 1st Battalion of the Tiger Regiment, Eastern Theater Command. This is my identification. We have been ordered to search for and rescue survivors and relocate everyone to the Dawn base outside the city." His voice was steady and powerful, evoking an involuntary sense of trust. "Dawn base?" I asked. "Is it safe there? How many people are there? Are the supplies sufficient?" Zhao Weigua patiently explained. Dawn base is a large survivor settlement established by the military, heavily guarded and absolutely safe. It has already taken in nearly 30,000 survivors. The base has comprehensive defensive structures and logistical support. Although supplies are tight, basic living needs can be met. It sounds pretty good, but I still have one last question. And it's the most crucial one. What do I need to do at the base? Do I need to hand over my supplies? My question is straightforward. In the apocalypse, supplies are life. Zhao Weigua's expression turned serious. He was silent for a few seconds, then said solemnly, "This survivor, I understand your concerns. The base's rule is that all individuals entering the base may keep their personal belongings. However, for the unified management of the base and the survival of everyone, we encourage people to hand over any surplus supplies in exchange for contribution points. Contribution points can be used within the base to exchange for better accommodations, more abundant food, and even weapons and privileges. Of course, this is entirely voluntary. We absolutely do not force anyone." This answer was within my expectations. It sounds relatively fair. I pondered for a moment and made a decision. "All right, I can go with you, but first, you need to do me a favor. Go ahead." "I have quite a lot of supplies here," I said slowly, looking at the surveillance footage. "I can't take them all by myself. I need your help." Hearing the words, "a lot of supplies," Zhao Weigua and the soldiers behind him all had a gleam in their eyes. As the heavy alloy door slowly opened, all the soldiers outside instinctively raised their guns and assumed a defensive stance. What they saw was a young girl wearing clean casual clothes. With a rosy complexion and a mental state so good that she didn't seem like a survivor of the apocalypse, compared to the villa behind me and the yard full of vibrant vegetables, these soldiers who had been enduring the elements and eating compressed biscuits for days seemed more like refugees. Xiao Weiguo's face showed an unmistakable look of shock. He probably couldn't figure out how a single girl had managed to turn her home into such an impenetrable fortress in this zombie-infested city and still live so comfortably. You're Comrade Liu Yao?" Xiao Weiguo asked with some uncertainty. I nodded. "That's me, Battalion Commander Zhao. Welcome to my home." My calm and composure made these soldiers, who were used to seeing survivors either terrified, numb, or frantic, look at me with newfound respect. Xiao Weiguo quickly regained his composure and gave me a formal military salute. "Comrade Liu Yao, hello. I am Xiao Weiguo. May I ask, the supplies you mentioned?" I stepped aside and pointed to the door leading to the basement. "They're all down there, but there might be a bit more than you expected." When Xiao Weiguo entered my underground bunker with a few soldiers, all of them were stunned by the sight before them, unable to speak for a long time. On the shelves, cans, snacks, and instant noodles were neatly stacked in piles as high as mountains. In the cold storage, various chilled meats and seafood were hung everywhere. On the other side, there were boxes of medicine and bundles of bandages. There were also crossbows on the weapon racks, diesel barrels stacked in the corner, and that expensive-looking water purification and power system. How could this be just one person's shelter? This is practically a small arsenal plus a warehouse supermarket. A young soldier couldn't help but swallow hard and muttered, Am I dreaming?" Xiao Weiguo's Adam's apple also bobbed up and down. The look in his eyes when he glanced at me had shifted from initial shock to deep astonishment and admiration. He couldn't fathom how, at such a young age, I had managed to prepare such an enormous amount of supplies all by myself before the apocalypse broke out. What kind of foresight, courage, and execution did that require, Comrade Liu Yao? Xiao Weiguo's voice was a bit hoarse. Did you prepare all these things by yourself?" I smiled faintly. "Just luck, that's all." "Luck, of course." Xiao Weiguo didn't believe it. This was something that couldn't be explained by luck at all. But he was a smart man and knew that everyone had their own secrets. He didn't press further and immediately contacted headquarters via walkie-talkie, reporting to command. "We found a survivor in Zone C7, yes, just one, but she has a massive amount of survival supplies. I repeat, massive. Requesting instructions." Xiao Weiguo's voice was filled with barely contained excitement. My appearance, along with the massive amount of supplies I possessed, caused a huge sensation at the Dawn base. Upon receiving the news, the base leadership immediately dispatched a transport convoy, personally escorted by Xiao Weiguo, specifically tasked with safely transporting me and my supplies back to the base. Just moving the items from my space required over a dozen military trucks, making 3 round trips. When the convoy arrived at the Dawn base in a grand procession, nearly everyone came out to watch. They watched as boxes of food, medicine, and weapons were unloaded from the trucks, their eyes filled with shock, envy, and greed. In the apocalypse, supplies are everything. Liu Yao, with these supplies, instantly went from an unknown survivor to the most sought-after person in the entire base. The base's highest commander, a gray-haired old general with stars on his shoulders, personally received me. He didn't ask about the source of the supplies, but instead tightly grasped my hand and said excitedly, "Good comrade, what a good comrade. The supplies you've brought, especially those medicines, are truly a timely help for our base. You've saved many lives." I do not take credit for it, but calmly said, "General, in times of national crisis, every citizen has a duty to contribute. This is what I should do." I volunteered to donate all the medical supplies, as well as half of the food, to the base free of charge. My generosity and sense of responsibility won the favor of all the high-ranking officials at the base. In return, the base allocated me a standalone villa in the core area with the tightest security as my private residence, and, according to my will, I was appointed as the deputy director of the base logistics and material management department. This is a position of real authority, overseeing the allocation of all materials for the entire base. At the same time, they also fulfilled their promise by converting the materials I donated into a massive amount of contribution points, which were deposited into my identity card. In the base, I not only gained status and power but also had an endless supply of money to spend. I have truly become a person of high status. Life at the base is a completely different experience from when I was alone in the villa. Here, there is order, rules, and a sense of community. Every day, I go to work at the resource management department. My job is to plan and allocate the base's resources, ensuring that every resource is used effectively. My arrival greatly alleviated the material pressure on the base. With ample food and medical supplies, the base could organize more personnel to clear the surrounding zombies, rescue more survivors, and expand the safe zone. The base began to enter a fast track of positive development, and I, with my accurate judgment and excellent management skills, quickly established authority within the department. Of course, where there are people who like me, there are also those who envy me, especially the head of the material management department, a fat man named Wang Hai. He was originally the top authority in this department, lining his own pockets by skimming and reselling supplies, and throwing his weight around. My arrival undoubtedly threatened his interests. He has been setting obstacles for me, both openly and covertly, for example, deliberately tampering with the accounts to make me the scapegoat, or inciting subordinates to not cooperate with my work. Unfortunately, he picked the wrong opponent. I struggled for 10 years in the apocalypse in my previous life. What kind of human malice haven't I seen? His little tricks are as laughable as a child's game in my eyes. I quietly gathered all the evidence of his corruption and, at a high-level base meeting, threw it right in his face in front of everyone. With the evidence undeniable, Wang Hai had no way to defend himself. The old general was furious on the spot and ordered his dismissal and investigation, sending him to the mines to dig coal, and I, quite naturally, took over his position and became the highest-ranking official in the materials management department. This day came just 1 month after I had entered the base. As the days passed, the base grew stronger and stronger. I have also established my own influence and connections within the base. Xiao Weiguo was promoted for his meritorious service in escorting me, becoming the captain of the base's security team. We became good friends, often eating and drinking together. He has remarked more than once that I am the most extraordinary woman he has ever met. I just smile and say nothing. My uniqueness was earned through the death and tears of my previous life. Occasionally, I still think of Lin Chen and Su Qianqian, but their faces have grown increasingly blurry in my memory. It's as if they were merely two insignificant passers-by in my long life. I no longer hate them, because I have reached a height they can never attain. The best revenge against them is not to kill them, but to live a life 10,000 times better than theirs, so much better that they are not even qualified to be jealous. On this day, the base organized a large-scale operation, preparing to completely eradicate a massive horde of zombies entrenched in the city center. It is said that within that horde, there are several evolved zombies like the ones I encountered before. The overall commander of the operation is the old general. I also joined the expedition as the head of logistics. The battle was exceptionally brutal. The strength of the evolved zombies exceeded everyone's expectations. The military suffered heavy casualties before barely managing to eliminate them. Just as everyone thought victory was within reach, a sudden mutation occurred. From the tallest building in the city center, a sudden, inhuman, piercing shriek rang out. With this shriek, all the remaining ordinary zombies seemed to be injected with adrenaline, becoming incredibly frenzied and fearlessly charging toward our position. Even more terrifying, a figure appeared on the rooftop of that building. It was a woman wearing a white dress. She stood at the edge of the rooftop, her face contorted, her skin deathly pale, and her eyes gleaming with a crimson light. It's her. She's the one commanding these zombies. Everyone was stunned. The zombies have actually evolved, giving rise to a zombie king with intelligence capable of commanding its kind. This is an unprecedented, terrifying entity that is enough to overturn everyone's perception. The military's front lines are retreating step by step under the frenzied attacks commanded by the zombie king. The old general's expression turned extremely grave. He knew that if they couldn't eliminate that zombie king, everyone would die here today. He looked towards the special ability squad beside him. This was the most elite force in the base, composed of survivors who had awakened various special abilities. No matter what, take her down. The old general issued the final order. The special ability squad launched a desperate charge towards the building. Fireballs, ice spikes, wind blades, lightning, All sorts of dazzling supernatural abilities were unleashed toward the rooftop as if they were free, but the female zombie king merely smiled disdainfully. She simply raised her hand, and an invisible psychic barrier blocked all the attacks. A psychic-type zombie king. This is the rarest and most challenging kind. She can not only control zombies but also create illusions, directly attacking people's minds. Under her mental assault, the members of the superhuman squad screamed in agony, clutching their heads, and collapsed with blood streaming from all 7 orifices. "It's over." These 2 words emerged in everyone's mind. Despair began to spread through the army. At that moment, I, who had been staying in the command vehicle at the rear, stepped out. I looked at the figure on the rooftop, my gaze turning ice-cold. Although her appearance had changed, I recognized her at a glance. That distorted face, that familiar white dress. It's Su Qianqian. I never would have thought that she hadn't died. Not only did she not die, but she turned into such a terrifying monster. Fate, how ironic. "Everyone, cover me," I said to Zhao Weiguo beside me, then retrieved from my space an exaggeratedly designed black sniper rifle taller than a person. This was the ultimate weapon I personally crafted using materials collected before the apocalypse, specifically designed to deal with evolved zombies. An electromagnetic railgun. Zhao Weiguo looked at the large weapon in my hand, paused for a moment, but quickly snapped back to reality and roared, "Covering fire! Protect Minister Liu at all costs!" All gun barrels were aimed at the rooftop, unleashing a dense barrage of fire. I calmly raised my rifle and, through the scope, locked onto Su Qianqian's head. Su Qianqian seemed to sense my killing intent as well. She turned her head, her crimson eyes fixed intently on me. A venomous and sinister smile spread across her face. An invisible psychic blade instantly pierced my mind. The intense pain made my vision go black, and I nearly passed out, but I clenched my teeth, biting the tip of my tongue, using the pain to stay conscious. In my previous life, the pain of being devoured by zombies was 10,000 times more intense than this. What is this little pain? I withstood the mental shock, steadied the gun, and slowly pulled the trigger. Su Qianqian, farewell. Boom, a dull, thunderous roar, and the specially made armor-piercing shell, as thick as an arm, propelled by immense electromagnetic force, shot out at several times the speed of sound, transforming into a destructive streak of light. In an instant, it struck Su Qianqian's head. No scream, no struggle, her head burst open like a smashed watermelon. Headless corpses, powerless, fall from a 100-meter-high building. With the death of the Corpse King, the frenzied horde of zombies instantly lost control, turning into a swarm of headless flies, quickly divided and annihilated by the military. The battle is over. We have won. The soldiers who survived the disaster erupted in earth-shaking cheers. Everyone looked at me with a fanatical, worshipful gaze, as if beholding a deity. I slowly lowered my gun and let out a long, deep breath. Sunlight pierced through the city's haze, shining on my face, so warm. A new era has begun, and I will be the most dazzling presence in this new era.